Welcome to Enlightened Voices podcast. And we want to just welcome in all of the men and women looking to cultivate healthy personal and professional relationships. At Enlightened Voices podcast, we transform our mind and life together. Today, we have another beautiful featured author on the Eight Cities Stand Up Book Tour. And with us today is Miss LaTonya. I would like to turn over the floor to you to give yourself the proper flowers and let the people know who you are.
All right. Well, thank you so much. First of all, I want to just thank you for this opportunity to be on your podcast and to be able to share about this amazing movement that I'm calling it that God has allowed me to be a part of with so many amazing women. So thank you so much for the opportunity. Definitely appreciate it. Um, so my name is LaTonya Parsons. I am a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a pastor. I'm a spiritual midwife. I'm a coach, a financial counselor. But all of that really all boils down to what's the most important. I'm a child of God. That's it, and try to keep it simple. So, God has allowed me to do some amazing things with amazing people. And I'm just excited that that all led me to this opportunity that Miss the amazing Sarah, all I do is win Osby has
Mhm.
put together with so many other amazing women that's going to be a part of it. So yeah, I wear many hats, but I'm excited that one of those hats brought me to this moment.
Mhm.
Not
Yeah.
all of it. Yes.
So I have just a question, just to start out. So you said you are a pastor, and I want to bring
Yes.
up it was a time I was working at this nursing home, and I did not grow up with any type of religious background. My
Mhm,
dad was at a place where he felt like his mom forced him to go to church. So once he got old enough, he just he wasn't gonna go. And I think she just ended up taking what could have been enjoyment out of it for him
mhm,
by forcing it on him. So he rejected it for such a long time. Um, so I was at work one day and I was telling this woman that I was talking to that I like to listen to Sarah Jakes Roberts and just,
mhm,
how good her church was and all of that. And she went on and because so I said I don't have a religious background, so I'm not very familiar about what's in the Bible and
mhm.
what's specifically said and where.
Yeah.
But, she made sure to let me know that women were not supposed to be preaching and women were not meant to be, I guess she made it seem like that wasn't what women were meant to do. But then she was like, women are meant to teach. And I'm like, that's like the same thing to me. But
Mm. Yes.
so could you like clear up that confusion for me? Because I feel like that seems like what it could have been because
Mhm.
as a woman, I think that women pastors are so essential because we connect on a different level than what we would connect in having a male pastor. So
Yeah.
what exactly is she talking about? Where does it
Yeah.
say this? What is she talking about?
Yeah. So that is an argument that has been going on before I've been on this earth, and I'm sure after. Um, the Apostle Paul was talking to a specific church in the New Testament. And part of what he said to that church is that women are to remain silent in the church. And if they have questions, they're to ask their husbands. Well, many have taken that one scripture, that one piece of passage, and has used that to say women shouldn't talk in the church. Women shouldn't say anything. They weren't called to be pastors or apostles or any of these things. Well, to clear it up, when we read the Bible, it is important that everything that we read, we keep in the proper context. For an example, if I tell you, China, I want you to stay in the house until 5 o'clock because if you go out before 5 o'clock, it's supposed to be bad weather. I told you specifically because of what is happening with you where you are. If you and then were in turn were to take that statement and say, everybody is supposed to remain in the house until 5 o'clock and never go out, um, that would be taking one directive to one person during one situation out of context because it was specifically to you. Well, the same thing often happens when people read the Word of God. They'll take something and not know the whole story. Who was being talked to, when, and why? What was the culture? All of those different things. So I kind of went the long way to say this. She wasn't wrong in that that is in the Bible, but had to go a step further to understand why that was being said. Now, if women aren't supposed to be used, there's Prophet Deborah that was in the Old Testament. There is Miriam, which was a prophetess, which was Moses' sister. There is Mary, the mother of Jesus, that carried the word himself. Um, there is Mary that followed Jesus and other women. There's Phoebe, and I mean we can go on about women that were used in the Bible. Um, and this is one thing that I just keep saying. I didn't call myself, nor would I have said, "Yay, I want to do that." That's not me. Maybe somebody wants to do it, but that's not me. So God has used men and women alike to get His purpose and His plans fulfilled in the earth. So, yeah, I hope that wasn't too long-winded.
No, no, that was fine because I think I would have needed all of the extra context simply
Yeah.
because I'm not familiar with it at all. So it would have
Yes.
just been like, you know.
Yeah.
So that's good to know because I think everybody has their opinions on those
Yes.
type of things.
Yes.
And we just agreed to disagree in that
Yeah.
moment because I still was just like, so we can give birth to a woman gave birth to every male preacher that you know. So I mean, a woman
Yes.
is not. We have one of the most important jobs
Yes.
before a man ever opens his mouth. So, it just didn't make sense to me.
Yes.
But what about your book?
Yes.
It,
S Go ahead, I'm sorry.
oh no, you go ahead.
Well, it's almost like you said everything that was an amazing segue to the book, which is called Birthed Out. So, it is not just a book, it's a ministry that God, gave me over 20 something years ago, and it is all about which turned into a book, which turned into an experience, which is workshops and all of those different things that assist individuals in first recognizing that we're all born with a purpose. Um, God told the prophet Jeremiah in Jeremiah 1 and 5 that before you were born, when you were in your mother's womb, I knew you and I called you to be a prophet. This is before his mother even gave birth. God had already had a purpose and an assignment for him. Well, that was not just for prophet Jeremiah, it's for all of us. And I believe before we get here, God has a purpose for us. That's why we're here. So the book helps people first identify that you do have a purpose and then help you, how do I walk out that purpose, or how do I live in that purpose, or um what is it God is calling me to do? So birth out this ministry, which includes this book, is all about assisting individuals with that. So I don't give anyone a purpose, God does. But I just help you on the journey of recognizing what it is and then how do you live in it, which I call walking it out.
Yeah. Okay, I love that.
Yes.
So is it more of like a workbook, where it's like you have assignments that goes with these passages,
Yes.
type of thing. And I guess you resonate with her a lot, so I guess that's why I keep bringing her up just in
Yes.
in you. But like Sarah Jake, she has a book called Power Move, and there's a workbook that goes with the book. So that's exactly what that sounds a lot like. And I like that you said that you don't give people, their assignments, but you just pretty much help them find it along the way, which is really important because that's a lot. everybody's issue, that causes a lot of depression and things of that nature because people don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're here for or how to
Yes.
take steps to become that person. So thank God that he put it on your heart to help them,
Yes,
you know,
absolutely. I'm
figure
so
it.
excited. Yeah, and it's for women and men because we all, and please, everyone that's watching, forgive me, my camera did something crazy, so now it's angled a different way, so I'm adjusting that, but we're gonna roll with it. Yes, for women and men, and it's an interactive book, but I am now birthing another book, which is a companion that now you can actually walk through it. So where are you? What are challenges you're dealing with? So that is coming soon. But the book that is out there now, it does have at the end of each chapter where you're able to engage with the content and see how it applies to you in your life. Yes.
Okay. And did Miss LaToya help you publish this book too?
Um, She didn't help me with this book because I didn't know her then. I met
Okay.
all of these amazing women, including Miss Sarah at an author's revival that I attended. Was my first time in
Ardenae.
October. Miss Ardenay, the amazing Ardenay, and that's when I was connected and discovered this beautiful community. So yes, if I would have
Yeah.
known Dr. LaToya before, yes, she would have been in it because it would have saved me a lot of different things. But I had a friend that assisted me with a lot of different parts of it. But the companion, she is helping me with that. Thank you, sis.
I love that. That is
Yes.
so good because I'm in the Resilience Black Women group on Clubhouse
Nice.
and I've just met everybody through there and it's just like, man, this is so nice. I went on there yesterday when we were talking about acts of kindness and stuff and I had to let them know, that is one of the best things I have ever encountered, especially as a young woman. Um I feel like my generation as young women are not doing that.
Mhm.
A lot of the times I feel like I had more so of a negative connotation to groups of women being together and what was being done and what was being said. So to get up at the earliest part of my day before I ever leave my house and be able to experience something so healthy like that, that's where everyone is being poured into and pouring into each other. That is like a really great start to the day and just something I try to tell all my friends about now.
Yes.
I don't know how well they would resonate with the group, but
Yes.
at least I told
Absolutely. And I love that you said that because this community is so important and how you start your day will usually determine how your day goes. So
you.
it is
Mhm.
so important to have a good, healthy, focused start to your day. So yeah, that's so cool that you're a part of that. And
So
I'm a
where
part, I
are
check
you?
in. I am in
You?
North Carolina. I try to check in.
Okay.
I was on this week, not as often as I would like to, but I think this week I was on Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Yes, Tuesday because Miss Sarah was leading or moderating.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I thought I heard you on there. We sure said Tuesday at the same time.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
That is, and you're in North Carolina. I'm in
I'm in North.
Missouri.
Yep, North Carolina, originally from upstate New York.
Mhm, mhm,
Yes. Yep.
Exactly. How do you feel like you led up to actually writing voices on, I mean, not writing voices on paper, but writing birth out and just putting your voice on paper?
Mhm.
And, like for the authors who don't know their authors, because it seems like nobody knows their author until you really just like, oh shit, I need to write a book.
Yeah.
So what was your before story, pre birth out?
Okay. So that's such a loaded question because
Mhm.
I believe I ran from writing a long time. So before like birth out on the paper, 20 years ago, it was birth out the workshop and sessions. So I was with women in the church. My pastor at the time, he had given me this title. Like before I even knew anything about birth out, he gave me this title. He was like, "Oh, the Angels Parsons, I want you to lead this ministry. For women, it's called Birth Out." But that's all he gave me. He didn't give me scripture. He didn't give me a description. He didn't give me an outline, objectives, nothing. And I'm just like, but before that moment, I was preaching at our church, but that's when we were in Syracuse, and I heard the Spirit of the Lord say spiritual midwife. I didn't know what that was. I never heard of anyone that called themselves a spiritual midwife.
I was
So I
just gonna
know
ask you what that was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I heard it, but I was just like, I don't know what to do with this. But it was there. Like it was in a part of my brain, my spirit, and it was there. I um Holy Spirit had given me a message about how when Mary gave birth to Jesus, Angel Gabriel came and told her the name, told her what Jesus would do. And when I read it this time, it was like, this is not just the Christmas story, because I only read that during like Christmas time. This is the story of all of us that God has put inside of each one of us a piece of himself, invested himself in us, and he's given the name. So our purpose, we don't have to find it. And I think a lot of people don't discover it, or they're not introduced to it because they're looking for it in the wrong places when it's inside of you. It's not.
Mhm.
So we miss some things because it's in us. And then he didn't have to, Mary didn't even have to think about, okay, what will Jesus do? I got to see what he do. The angel said, this is what he's going to do. That's the same thing with our purpose. It's already named. It already has an assignment. We don't have to conjure up anything. We don't have to pay somebody to tell us what it is. God has put it
Mhm.
inside of us. So the process before the book was just life, me living, me going through challenges and me failing and making mistakes. But in the midst of all that, God's still saying, I have a plan and a purpose. And as long as you choose to obey me and you choose to live for me, I'm going to bring you right to where you need to be, right when you need to be there. So, what a spiritual midwife is, just circling back to that, is just an individual that God has chosen and called that helps individuals, just like a regular midwife, deliver, give birth to their, these are not natural babies, but spiritual babies. So yeah.
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 Which essentially is like their purpose.
Yes. There you go. You got it. That's the connection.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
I love you're so kind. So sweet. And it's a process. And all of ours is different. Just like a woman in their pregnancy. All of them are different,
Mhm.
even though the end goal is you're delivering a baby. But what you go through that process of delivering a baby, some things are similar, some things are very different. Well, that's the same thing when we are walking out this process of delivering who God has called us to be, not just what we do, but who we are. It is different. And I've learned that God uses everything in our life. He can use everything. Does he cause everything? No. But can he
Wow.
use everything? Yes. So, yeah.
I like that you said that because I think that, gosh, God gets he kind of gets the backlash for everything. It's kind of
Yes.
like in Dear Mama when Tupac said,
Mhm.
we had different daddies, but when things go wrong, we blame mama.
Yep.
And it's just I think that's just something that, that's
Yeah.
like the story of God's life because it's like
Yes.
something bad can happen and it's like, why God? And it's like, ma'am, I gave everybody free will. So
Yes.
I didn't plan for him
Yeah.
to do that, but he
Right.
has free will to do whatever he wants to do. So he
Yes.
chose to
Yes.
do this. And
Yes.
that's just something that, you had to encounter due to his choices, but it doesn't have
Yes.
anything to specifically do with me. I didn't
Yes.
say go do, so it's just
Yeah.
I think coming really to an understanding of that and just learning true responsibility and true
Yeah.
accountability. And it's like
Yep.
people hear God and it's like it's all on him.
Yes.
And it's like, no, that's not necessarily
That's
the case.
not. No, it's not. And a thing heard you say earlier, how you may not have had a background growing up in the church. Well, I did, but that doesn't make me or anyone else that has that background of growing up in the church any better, because it wasn't until I came to the realization that wasn't looking for someone that was religious. He's looking for someone to be in a relationship with.
Hmm.
And that's someone that chooses to allow him and receives what Jesus did, the sacrifice, and accepts Holy Spirit to live on the inner side. And then you live out life with him, just like in a natural relationship. You get to know the person, you spend time with the person, you talk to the person, you're there in the ups and the downs. That's what Jesus wants, not religious. I got a long skirt, or I have a big hat on, or I got a collar. That's not what it's all about. He wants a relationship. And in that relationship, do I mess up a lot of times? Yeah, but that doesn't take his love away, because at the end of
Yeah,
the day, he loves us more than we can ever even know. And then because of our love for him, when I mess up, I feel bad because I don't want to hurt him. So it's like, oh, I don't want to do that again. So I'm gonna do
yeah,
whatever I can not to practice doing that. But it's a relationship. And I think that's the part that sometimes is missing, and why church gets a bad rap. And again, we are the
yeah,
church, because people like, oh, they're hypocrites, everyone trying to be perfect. No, it should be about people that are fostering a place where you can come and be safe and grow in your relationship with God. And then we go out and tell others about the same thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think a lot of the issue is, especially as a person who I would consider an outsider looking in,
Mm,
um, people get forgetful,
mm,
and it's crazy because like, how can you forget in the place of of
yeah.
fellowship? But that is all this essentially is. This is just fellowship. The relationship is beyond
Yes.
this one day, this one time that we're here.
Yes.
And as a
Absolutely.
kid, I would just always look at it like, well, look at that woman that came out of that church. Look how
Hmm.
judgmental she is. Like even as a kid,
Yeah.
I was just like, look at you. And you go to church. Well, look at what you doing. Look at
Yeah.
what you say. I don't want to go to that church. Like that
Yeah.
was always my thing. Like, no. Because they always say kids are the best judge of character. And
Yeah.
I just used to sit back and watch people and be like, no, no, if that's
Yeah.
what church is doing to y'all,
Yeah.
mm-mm,
Yeah.
mm-mm. But I think that now that people are just really becoming okay with having their own relationship and not really being worried and affected by it, because I think I came to that realization like, well, I essentially did the same thing that they were doing. And had I just went in worried about myself, who knows where the relationship would be now.
Yeah. 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 And it's something we grow in, that as we learn more, as we know more, as we learn to do better, we should just do better. And sometimes I don't even tell people, like, I don't lead with, hi, I'm Pastor LaTonya.
Hmm.
I don't ever. I'm LaTonya. That's what's on my birth certificate, and when I die on my death certificate, it won't say Pastor LaTonya. It'll still say LaTonya. So I'm just like everybody else. God just chooses to use me in this capacity, just like He uses you the way He uses you. And I'm not disconnected from anyone because of a title that should cause me to be more attached, and it means I serve. That's what being a pastor
Hmm.
means. I serve. That's what a minister is, a servant. Jesus came to serve. So sometimes that might be forgotten or put on the back burner, but we're here to serve
Yeah.
and to make my disciples and please the Lord, so that his plans are fulfilled in us in this earth.
So
Yep.
in your serving, how is your spiritual midwife journey going?
Mhm.
Um, especially with the book. Like, how are they incorporated in the two? Because I'm very curious about that. Because I've been getting a lot of. I have ran from coaching, being a coach for the longest time because I'm
Mhm.
like, I have children, and I'm like, I always said my energy is for my children. Those are the only two people that I am responsible for. But it's kind of like that's not all the way true. And every time somebody asks if I have a coaching program or anything, I'm like, no, I'm not a coach. I'm a speaker, and I'm a poet, and that is as far as I would like for it to go. But the more it comes up, I was talking to Sarah the other day. I'm like, the more it comes up, it's just like, God, I told you I didn't want to do this. Like, and I
Yeah.
know it's gonna be one of those things that I end up doing, and it's gonna be like, mm,
Yes. Yes, it will. And how it's interesting that you say that because the birth out journey is a continuous journey. It's not like I have arrived and it's over because people give birth to multiple. Just like naturally, you don't just have to have one child. You can
mhm,
have multiple children, you could have multiples at one time. Well, the same thing is true spiritually. And just because you've acknowledged that you're a poet does not mean that God doesn't have for you in his plans to give birth to the coaching. So I had to learn because I was keeping everything separate. So yes, I'm pastor over here and I serve in this capacity, and I'm a midwife over here, and I'm a coach over here, and I'm a counselor over here. And it is hard to be disjointed
mhm,
because we're one person. Like all of that was still me. But I'm like, keep her separate, keep her over there, keep her over there. And God's like, what are you doing? And he's like, all of it, because even all of that, it works together. Because I'm finding that the individuals that God is using, my husband and I, we pastor together to serve. The midwife is there, and people they're giving birth to different things, whether they're entrepreneurs or they're prophets or preachers or whatever it is, writing plays or creating whatever it is. It's a birthing process, all of it. So God was just like, yeah, I called you to be a pastor, spiritual midwife, coach, counselor. And it all comes together and he makes it work. So it took me some time to let them all come together because again, I'm just
mhm,
like, because then there was part accepting pastor took some time. I literally had to, I believe this is something God allowed to get physically sick, like a day, because I moved to North Carolina. Moving to North Carolina wasn't even part of my plan at all. Not really. And definitely not at that time. But God was like, "Go." And I'm like, "Well, what am I going for? Like, what am I have family here, but I'm like, I have a great job. This job I always wanted, and my kids they were like a senior and junior in high school. It didn't seem like the right time, but God was like, "Go." I was like, "Okay." So I accepted the move knowing that something behind everything God tells us to do is very strategic. There's it's a purpose. He knows. So he came here. So I'm here and I'm just like, well, what am I doing here? So I'm looking for jobs because I'm like, I'm not used to not being without a job. But then I was like, I want to do a job that I'm passionate about. So financial education, I love. But it took like months to get a job for me to find a job in the field that I wanted. But in the meantime, God was like, "You need to focus on me. You need to spend time with me." And I just started just writing like every day, all the time. I would just write down whether it was a note, whether whatever. I was just always writing. And then I did Bible study with the family. And I'm just like, okay, I came here to do Bible study with the family. And we're looking for churches. We're just visiting churches. And I'm just like, oh, this is a great church, but this is not, I don't feel like I'm at home. This is great. I'm not at home. Few years passed, I think like 2 to be exact, or yeah, 2. And he was like, "Now you need to do what I've called you to do, the reason why you're here." And I'm like, "Oh, what is that?" "Oh, I don't want to be a pastor. I said I never wanted to be a I don't want this. This is too much. This is not me. I don't." And we got to stop thinking that what God is called us to be is based on what we like or don't like. It's based on who he created us to be. And everything he's called us to, he's equipped us for. Everything. So when I finally say yes, I remember calling my dad. They lived in New York at the time. And when I'm calling him, I'm bawling. I'm like, God called me to be a pastor. And he was like, yeah, I knew. Like almost everybody around me was like, yeah, I knew. And I'm like, well, I'm glad y'all knew. And I think I did know too. It's about acceptance. Like you said, God gives us free will. He doesn't force us to do anything. He has plans for us, but we have to accept the plan and surrender to the plan. And
Mhm.
that's a long-winded answer. I'm so sorry. I'm acting
You're
like a
fine.
preacher now.
No,
But
you're
yeah,
fine.
all of that, like accepting and seeing how it all works together. It all comes together. And like I'm just now embracing all of that. That, okay, I can be an author and a pastor and a spiritual midwife and a coach and a counselor. But in all of it, it's for God to be glorified and not for me to be like, hey, look at me. No, it's look at him.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And that's,
Yeah.
I do not mind the deep answers because the questions, while they seem, short or kind of surface level, the ballpark is in general of where you actually are is a deep place to be because I feel like people who did not grow up in a church or anything like that, but we have our own relationship with God, we always call ourselves, we're just spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, regardless of anything, I am just a spiritual person with my own concern from my own relationship with God. I'm not worried about all of the other things because I still have it's like spirituality is people don't tend to have very many questions about that because they understand that that is a individual journey.
Mm-hmm.
But when you say religion, that's where a lot of questions come in because I could ask you questions about that all day.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So it's like that's why I wondered, how did the spiritual midwife, how was that going? Because I just I don't know what it is, but I feel like with me, I just feel so protective over my energy. And I think that's the
Mhm.
coaching, that's my real refusal
Yeah. Yeah.
with the coaching because it's like if you're not ready, I don't mind helping people.
Mhm.
And I've always just ended up doing it like but it's coming across the people who aren't really ready for the help.
Mhm.
So then that gives me a sense of wasting time
Mhm.
because I've had family members die at a young age.
Yeah.
Um, and that has snapped me into the realization of the actual concept of time.
Mhm.
I get time, even though I feel like it's not a real thing, but I do feel like I don't have time. I don't
I
have
hear
time to play. I was raised, you told something one time and you
yeah.
go get it done. I'm not big on repeating myself. So that's
Yeah.
the whole thing with coaching and why I would just prefer to speak because if I speak in a transformative way and you take those words and you carry those words with you, I feel that when people are ready, they'll get farther along than if I kind of look at coaching like as if I was to have to hold your hand.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's like I don't want to end up depleting my cup and then I still have to get off of a call and I'm still a mother and a wife and all of these things and now I'm depleted.
I get it. I get it.
It's
But you got to look
not-
at it twofold because it's not just about the ones that might not be ready, because there's a lot of them that are. But then it's also about your obedience because God didn't call you to be something based on somebody else's response to what He called you. So He didn't call me to be a spiritual midwife and put on like a disclaimer, but if they don't accept or receive you, then you have the right to say no to me. It's not attached to people's response. It's attached to our obedience to his directive. So, and what he's called you to be, there's someone he's called you to. That's why he called you to be it. There's people
Mm,
waiting. And heaven forbid that our refusal to say yes and surrender now has them trapped in a season that they should have been free, but because we didn't say yes, of course, God will use somebody else and get them. But if they were attached and connected to us through God, now we're delaying somebody else because I've learned that our obedience and what He's called us to do is not just about us. There are people, sometimes hundreds and thousands of people attached to our yes. So it can't just be about what I want to do and how I want to do it. It got to be about I'm surrendering to you, Lord. And whatever the response is going to be, I'm not responsible for that. I'm just responsible for my
mhm.
obedience.
Yeah. And that makes sense because that kind of goes back to Jesus' sacrifice because that's one of those things. My mom made me watch. She had the movie,
Mhm.
you know, she
Yeah, I
had
know.
the movie when I was a kid and she made me watch it and I was just so sad. I'm like,
Yeah.
God, you knew that everybody was gonna reject him and this
Come
was gonna happen and you still sent him? Like
and
that was
still
always
did
my
it.
thing. Like I think about it like there's no way I could sign up for something like there's no way I could sign up for
Yeah.
something like that and I have to go through this to then
Yeah.
though, pretty much give the golden ticket to everybody else that accepts him. And it's like, while it's easy to say that you wouldn't do it, but it's like if he didn't do it, imagine the type of world that it would be
Absolutely.
and the type of things that, people would experience. So it's just like, man, it all comes full circle, but it's just like,
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah. It it is deep, it is heavy, it is something that we have to be mindful of. And then our yes or obedience to God is not just a one-time thing and that covers everything. We have to say yes
mm,
all day, every day.
yeah. Yeah, it's like you have to get up every day and
Yes.
continue to choose obedience when you have
Yes.
free will. Like
Yes. Yes. Every day. It's
it's
not
like
like, oh,
so
I
I
said
could
yes
see
then. I'm good. No, no.
you.
Nope.
It's like you gotta. Are you gonna say yes today? Because every day is
Yes.
different. And you're gonna go through something different every single day.
Yes.
So it's just like, man, like it all comes full circle. But when you have those moments of realization, like it is
Yeah.
so crazy. And just talking to you now, I could just imagine what the book would do for me because I'm such,
Mhm.
as you can see, I feel like I'm such a deep,
Yeah.
thinker
Yeah.
that it's just like whenever you're on tour and you're pouring into those women, um, I could just imagine the transformation that they're going to have because I always talk about my first moment I feel of transformation was at a women's convention in 2022. It was my first time
Wow.
ever being out of Missouri. I flew to Georgia completely on my own, and I always love to talk about how that experience in that room with those women was a very transformational and pivotal point in my life as a young woman
Wow.
because it gave me the direction early of where I needed to be trying to get. And, I already went through my whole perception of time. So once I got
Yeah.
it, I'm like, oh, okay, what do I,
Yeah.
do to be there?
Yeah.
Because I'm not the type of person who just wants to go through different struggles to learn. If I could, I'm an easy way kind of person. Like
I
I,
like
I,
that.
I really, yeah, I like the easy way. So if you already been through it and you could tell me, hey, it's a pothole right there,
Yeah.
so jump when you get right there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be that one person that's gonna listen and I'm gonna
Yeah.
see that pothole as I'm coming up, like, okay, that's where I'm supposed to jump. And I'm gonna jump because I don't like to have to go through the hard. I don't
Yeah.
want the hard to have what's for me. So I think that is going to be the most important takeaway that I feel like hopefully men and women get from the book, and because I think people don't perceive it like that. People don't understand what it is to actually give what you have learned, and like the title of the tour, put your voice on paper and give people the guidance and the roadmap to avoid
Yeah.
traffic and avoid potholes. It's like
Yeah.
if you just go ahead and do it and you don't resist and you don't fight doing the work, here's the roadmap
I
right
love
to
it.
it.
You just described the Bible. God gave us the easy way, if you allow me to say it like that. He told us what will happen if you do this and what will happen if you do that. He told us what he promises to do. He told all of it is out there, his word. Now we just have to choose. We could say, well, I wonder, but you really serious about this? We could do that because you could say that pothole. I wonder did someone fill it in? Let me see. Maybe they moved it. Maybe she was lying. There's not really a pothole, right? You know how we
Mhm.
do. But yeah, you're right. If we do and follow, and God has given all of us experiences and things that somebody else can learn and grow by, but then we all have our own journeys. There's some people that I don't want to say it is the hard way, it's the way that they learn. And God knows us
Yeah.
all, just like we know our kids. We know the one that's going to listen, and we
Mhm.
know the one that says they're going to listen while we're staring. Soon as we walk away, they're going to do the opposite. We know that because
Yeah.
we know our children. But God knows his children too.
Yeah.
He does.
And
He
that's
knows.
y'all what I think like when I'm like, Cal, I just told you
Yes.
to do this. And you watch them not do what you told them to do. And I bet
Yes.
that's how God just be like, girl,
Mhm.
I
I
told
said
you to
that.
do
I
this.
said that the other day. He'd be like, "Bless her heart." Oh, poor thing. What's wrong? Yeah, yeah, I'm sure, especially to
When
me.
they say bless your heart, it's like,
Yes.
oh my God, they just know. You are troubled when somebody say bless your heart.
So you got it. You got it. Yes.
It's like, Lord, I'm just like, goodness. It's very interesting though. It is so interesting. And it's like I I have this app, this Bible app on my phone
Mhm.
because I'm not familiar with anything in it. So
Yes.
it sends me, like scriptures for the day.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go to I screenshotted this one, so I'm gonna go to it and I'm gonna read it because I feel um like it would just be great for today. Um, so it's Corinthians chapter 1 verses 3 through 7. ESV. Not sure what all the different versions of the Bible. I don't know
Mhm.
how I feel about that, but that's the one that it's
Gotcha.
on.
Mhm.
So it says, so neither who plants nor he who waters is anything, but only God who gives the growth. So I'm like,
Yes.
I screenshotted that because I'm like, that makes so much sense, because it's like you have moments in life where it's like I know I'm doing the right thing. I planted this, I'm watering it, why is it not growing?
Yeah.
And you have those times with God and it's like, well, why this? Why that? And it's like, this is not supposed to grow. And it's
Mhm.
like that's how you end up. Those are, for me, it sounds like the easiest signs. Those are the most simple signs of obedience. If I plant a seed and it doesn't grow, a physical seed though, and it doesn't
Yes.
grow, it makes sense. Like, okay, this one just wasn't supposed to grow, and you can move on from it pretty easily. Oh, I'll
Mm.
just go get another one. But it's like when it's life and you think you're doing something right and it's not
Yeah.
growing, you like, what in the world is going on?
Yeah. 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 And but even with that analogy, and I love that you used it, that in that scripture it says, but one had to water, right? So if I plant a seed in the ground and I just leave it and I'm just like, I'm not gonna water it. I'm not gonna make sure where I'm planting it is good ground because my dad always talked about farming. I'm not one to dig in the ground like that because I don't like digging in the ground. But he knows all about where you're supposed to plant the seed, where's the right place, um, the right time, then what you need to do to nurture it, but then you can't make it grow. Like I cannot get underneath in the soil every day and kind of do anything grow. I can't do anything. I do my part, but then there's a part that none of us can do. Only God can make it grow. But I can water. Like he told us, we got water, get the watering can, get the water hose, get the whatever you need to do. Do your part, but don't think that your part is the greatest part because
Yeah,
he's the one that brings about the growth, the increase. We don't even know what is even well, they've studied what's happening to make the seeds grow. But there's nothing really that like, yes, we're watering, but it needs the sun. Like
yeah,
all of these things that we can't put the sun, we didn't put the sun in the sky. We can't tell it when to shine and not to shine. So the biggest part is like the important part, don't forget about God
yeah,
and
yeah.
what he does.
Yep.
That only he can do. Yeah,
And
I
that
love
one
that
for
scripture.
me gives me the reminder of not so much worrying about the control. Like
Mhm.
even if I plant this, even if I water it, I do not
Yes.
have
Mm,
control over the
mm,
growth of this thing.
that's
So I
right.
don't need to worry about it.
That's right. That's right. Because who of us is
So
going to bury ourselves underneath the ground and watch a seed until it grows? And even if we're under there, ain't nothing we could do about it. But look at it.
right. Yep. So it's like
Right.
that one was a really good one for me
That's good. Yes.
today. So, and I think I didn't even think too much on it until
Yeah.
like right now in this moment. And it's even with this, actually coming up with this with Sarah, because this didn't even come up as any type of possibility until
Yeah.
after our episode, our Where Is Your Mind episode. And that was just more so highlighting her as a mindset coach.
Yeah.
So then once we got into this, I had already told her, like things were just at like an awkward spot where it was like, okay, because I'm in healthcare, I'm a CNA, but I got
Yeah.
tired of doing that because it's one of those things where when you know that you're supposed to be doing more, and while being a CNA is a just rewarding passion of mine because I just
Mhm.
genuinely like to take care of people. But when you have to go into the job and you're on the lowest part of the totem pole and everybody treats you like that and you know that you're supposed to be doing more than this, it's like I can't stay here either. So I left and then I ended up nothing else came through. And with a CNA license, it's like you can get a job anywhere doing anything.
Yeah.
So it's like why am I not finding nothing? And I have
Mhm.
been telling people, I feel like it's just meant for me to sit. Like I'm just gonna have to sit and see what comes. And then I got more so into my poetry, and then I got more into my podcast.
Mm.
And this will be like my second marathon that I've done since really picking the podcast back up. And it's like
Mm.
the more I went to church on Easter with my
Okay.
cousin, her church, and they asked for, a prayer. Like, what prayer would I like for them to pray for? And I
Mhm.
asked them to just pray that God continue to guide me to a relationship with Him. And then, me and my children to have a relationship with Him and just keep us on that path. And all of you women are faith based, but genuinely faith based because I feel like
Mhm.
I have very good discernment on
Mhm.
the character of people to where I feel like I can see, I can weed out, you're not really, you're, you just go to church. It's a difference
It is.
in being a faith based
Yeah.
woman and then just being a woman that go to church.
Mm. You're right.
So every conversation I have had with every single one of you ladies has just got me one step closer. Like boom, it's like boom,
Wow.
okay, 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 okay. So it's like this for me is like a whole manifestation within itself, but then also it's showing me resources that I have for myself too. Because I can't call you every single day or every single time there's an issue, but I can go get birthed out and guide myself on my
Yeah.
own journey. Especially because I always say I am for the self helpers. I like to consider
Mhm.
myself a self helper. Like because I'm so aware, I know my weaknesses. So as long as I know the resources to strengthen those up, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And I know other people may not always be that way, but that's how I am. So it's like just whole series and everything that y'all are doing is just like, oh, okay. So when I need help in this area, I can go do this and I can go
Yeah.
do that, and that's why my podcast is called Enlightened Voices. And that's why it is for people looking to cultivate healthy personal and professional relationships. Because to be enlightened is just to be aware.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So every single one of you women offer a different form of awareness that will bring not only just bring people closer to their passion and to their purpose, but closer to God. And that's more so of what the world needs more than anything.
Yeah,
And it
absolutely.
shows a different outlet because a lot of people are not comfortable with speaking. So it's like those people, maybe through writing a book, that's going to force you to speak because once you write the book, now everybody wants you and you're going
Mm.
to have to talk about this book.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why we're birthed out. I don't want to give them too much because I want them to get the tickets and
Yes,
the
get your
link
tickets.
and the banner at the bottom.
Yes.
www.voices on paper. I will be in New York. Lord's will, I'll be in Memphis and
Nice.
the VIP tickets in Chicago. I've been trying to say, I said I was going to gatekeep until I got my ticket because it's only five of them. I said I was going to gatekeep until I got mine, but
That's so
I'm not going
awesome.
to do that. So I'll be doing poetry in New York, and then Memphis I'll just be attending, and then at Chicago I'll just be at the brunch.
Nice.
So I'm like, yes,
I love
this is
it.
really gonna be great.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, Voices on Paper. Please, if you don't have your ticket, please. And it's not just, there's an amazing lineup with guests and authors, and
Mhm.
everything is going to be amazing. Everyone's going to be amazing. But I truly believe and I know that God is going to do something in each and every person that comes that's going to be transformative and move you to another place in Him where you should be. Because there's no big eyes and little U's and all that in God. We all have a purpose. We're all needed. We're all part of one body. There's not multiple bodies. It's just one. So I can't say, oh, you're just an eyelash and I'm a nail. I'm better than you. No, we all need each other because when my eyelash needs to flitter, I need my nail in my finger. We all need each other. So I pray that that those that God has called to be in the building, that you'll just do it. Don't even second guess, knowing that He has something there for you. And I'm just
Yes,
excited to see you in person. Yeah. I'm a hugger,
I'm
so
excited too.
just back up. Like if you don't want me to hug you, be like, no, LaTonya,
Oh
leave
no,
me alone.
I'm
But I'm careful who I hug because you gotta be careful. But yes,
yeah,
do you?
you know what? And I think that's
Yes.
something you get the vibe off of
Yes.
immediately. Anyway, it's kind of like
Oh
a,
yes. Yeah, you do. You
hey,
got
how
it.
are you?
Right, there you
And then
go.
seeing those moments, I can get real mean.
Yeah,
I get that
yeah,
vibe. I probably won't even speak to you.
yeah. I mean, some real stuff. We could be in here for a long, long time. But yeah,
Right.
I'm so glad to have connected with you again and to have this opportunity. And now that we're connected, sorry for you, we can't get disconnected.
Oh no, that is fine. So in closing, what words do you have for the
Mm,
people? I just want to remind them that ticket
yes,
sales do end May 23rd at
yes,
11:59 p.m. There are only 5 VIP tickets. So if you're gonna get one, y'all better save me one. But because I will trip you and but save me one. But the
yeah,
ticket sales do end May 23rd at 11:59 p.m. So don't
yeah,
walk, run, and do not procrastinate.
yeah.
Go get the tickets, support these women that what they are doing has never been done before. So with that being said, Miss LaTonya, just give us some encouraging words to close us out today.
Absolutely. So I want to again thank you for this space, but I want to say that if you are watching this, you're listening to this, that God has you here. And Sarah says it all the time on purpose, but it's true. There's a purpose. I believe there's a purpose behind it. And don't ignore it. Don't don't try to quiet it. Don't just surrender. Like he has need of you. You are unique. You are special. You don't have to be like anybody else or do it like anybody else. I believe in this time God is calling for some things that we've never seen, we've never heard of, and don't question it because you've never seen it. He said you haven't seen it until you do it. Then it will be seen. So please obey the voice of the Lord, surrender to Him, and watch Him do mighty things through you. So, so excited for each and every one of you.
Love it. That was so good. Well, Enlightened Voices, that was our episode today with Miss Beautiful LaTonya. Go get Birthed Out. Is that on Amazon?
It is on Amazon. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It is.
That is on Amazon. I'm an Audible kind of girl myself. Um, so I'm just gonna have to put a little bug in y'all's ear to let me record myself reading y'all books so y'all can have it on Audible because that's a
Yes.
completely different type of platform, for
Okay.
people that are driving and things like that. Or, if they could listen and take notes and do
Yeah,
different things. So that'd be a good avenue for all of you women. So
absolutely.
um, make sure that you go get birthed out. Make sure that you get your tickets and be in these rooms. In 8 cities, surely you can get somewhere now. So you got your encouraging words. I hope that everybody was enlightened and got the messages that resonate with them. Miss Latonya, thank you for being on here today.
Absolutely.
Um, I will see you soon.
All right.
And
Thank
with
you.
that being said, we will end. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.